Hi, everybody. This is Lee Toutounchian, Mr. T, your realtor in the Port Orange, Volusia County, Daytona area, up and down the coast mostly. Welcome again to my podcast, Wizard of House podcast by Mr. T. And today, and I'll also thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. They keep telling me to say that, but I keep forgetting. So anyway, make sure you hit the button, as they say on the bottom here. If it's not there, call me so I can call this guy. Anyway, I have another beautiful company here, a great guest. I'm honored to have him because he's a busy guy. He has taken the time out of his busy day and all the jobs he has to do to come and just talk to me for an hour so we can relay a lot of good information to you. The company that he owns and represents is Precise Audio. And I've known this gentleman for many, many years. I'm going to put him on. And then we're going to just ask what all he does. And if you guys have any information, want to reach out to him, we'll get his information to you. And thank you for listening. Welcome, Chris. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Thank you again for being here. I know how busy you are.
No worries. Thank you. My name is Chris Lozano, the owner of Precise Audio, which is a company that we started here in Daytona Beach back in 2005. We specialize in very high-end homes. Our main job that we would like to say is our bread and butter would be the home automation, where we basically come in and we integrate everything. We still take on a lot of other jobs where we're just doing surveillance or just audio video, but when people see how you can bring the house together into one app or one native interface that can control literally everything inside their home, it just blows their mind and it makes them addicted and constantly trying to get back on our counter to get us to come back and do more.
Nice.
Very lucky because I'm surrounded by, very good people. I've got a very good crew. My wife has also been a part of it since the very beginning. Back in 2005 when I opened up, a friend of mine was joking around because I was doing a lot of car audio back in the day, and my nickname was always Precise because of how I have to keep all of my equipment, my tools, my clothes, my vehicles, everything. I've just always been very meticulous.
Nice.
So when I was in high school, my nickname became Precise. And then when I was doing all these jobs from 16 to I'd say 21, 22 in the car side, one of my buddies, Jamie McNeil, said, you ought to open up a company and call it Precise Audio.
Oh, wow.
So that was where we begun with Precise Audio, although then years later, I'd say around 2015, 2016, we got out of the automotive side and just focused on home theater, home automation, high-end surveillance, distributed audio, and then networking became a big thing. So in our line of work, everything that we put into a home relies on the network. So it's very important that you have an enterprise level network because that's basically the backbone of what we're doing. So in times where people aren't willing to understand that and they want to use their own network, we tend to walk away from the job because we just know that they're asking for trouble.
Very nice.
Yes.
Thank you. That's a lot of complicated for a lot of us who are not, technical. We're not so tech savvy.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it. Now, back to you, and you said when you were from 16 to 21, and, were you born in Daytona? Or where were you?
No, I was born and raised in New Jersey.
Oh, New Jersey. So you moved here.
My family and I moved here when I was 11, and then we moved to Illinois and then to Pennsylvania, and then they decided they were happiest down here, so we moved back here when I was about 13 or 14.
Very nice. And I got to tell you, Chris is local. His business has gone like amazing, and I guess the secret is being precise.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of his work. I know you do security systems, you do the cameras. So in plain language, like, when you say networking, some of these people are like, oh, what is that? But we all know, you're talking the integration inside the home and picking up, putting all this stuff together so they work together, talk together.
Right.
what is the latest trends? And you said high-end homes. What if I don't have a high-end home? I still want you to come in. But you do, because I've seen you do, right now you're getting probably more requests from higher-end homes.
Mm-hmm.
They want to update their homes to new technology. I mean, what's the trends? What's going on? Any pricing? I mean, look, most people walk into Best Buy, right? And buy a TV, and then they go online, try to find somebody to come and hang it for them. It's pretty crazy. Or Best Buy says, oh, we have, our techs that they can, not just Best Buy, of course, anywhere, Amazon, whatever. But you provide all of that. You actually do all of it. I've seen in your warehouse, you have TVs ready to go. You have everything ready to go. You have those big boxes, right? The consoles, what do you call those? The big glass box where you put all your automation stuff.
The glass box
that hangs the networking box or
the racks.
The
equipment racks.
The equipment racks are amazing now. What they've gone to is incredible. So anyway, Chris is the best of the best. His company is not too big. You've got how many guys working for you?
7 now.
7 guys, 4, 5, 6 vans.
We've got 5 vans right now, and we just got our notification from Ford that our 6th one is in production.
Yeah, so if you see the big red vans going by, most of them are red, right?
They're all,
red,
all
and it says Precise Audio. That's one of the Chris's team members.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming. So go ahead and just tell us, let's say I have a home that's built in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
And all I have is those pre-wired speakers and I have nothing. What can you do when you come in there? Do you do everything remote? Do you wire everything? What do you like or what do you recommend?
A question you asked a few minutes ago about the smaller jobs. We have always had a saying that no job is too big or too small. And I try to stick to that motto, but sometimes there are some jobs that are too small, but it's only when the client's not willing to accept that technology is changing rapidly. And we're always thinking future. So if we were to come into a home that was pre-wired, say back in 04, 05, and they just wanted to replace the speakers and not really get into the automation, we have sources for that. We have options. The first thing we do is we schedule an appointment with the client to kind of feel them out and to see what their budget is, if they even have one, if they've considered one. Because a lot of times we do shock people when we come out with our proposal. So we try to feel them out first and see what their needs and desires are before we even put anything on paper. The jobs that we do, though, even if they start small, a lot of them end up getting big because we try to really focus on the relationship building with our clients. And I tell all of them each and every time I meet a new client, like, this is kind of a marriage with us when we meet a client.
Yes, I say the same. That's funny.
Because we're not going to go away. We're not going to just take care of your home once and then not answer your call down the road. You know, I've got clients of mine that I have to break it to let them know our hourly rates now compared to 17 years ago when we started, and it shocks them. But the majority of them are just still happy that we still remember their name. We still remember their family. You know, we still remember the pups, you know, the animals. And, you know, we try to build strong relationships with the clients. And then that leads us into them being comfortable sending us over to their friends. And hence the reason why we're just always so busy. Everything with our business is word of mouth. And, you know, I told you before that back in the day, we used to try to park the vans places to try to get recognition. And now when we're in certain neighborhoods, I'm telling the guys to try to hide the vans because I don't want anybody to see them. Yeah. I had someone recently that I turned down, a pretty big name in town that I won't say, but I turned down doing the work for them because they weren't being reasonable. And they wanted us to Band-Aid a system that we didn't want to put a Band-Aid on because we didn't want to assume responsibility for it. So we turned down the job.
So you rather just take it all out, start from...
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
If you're dealing with anything that's 10 to 15, even 20 years old, some of these people have equipment from the 90s. I mean, it's crazy some of the stuff you see. And granted, some of that stuff will last forever compared to some of the stuff you buy now that's all made in
It just
overseas.
saves you so much time trying to figure out...
Yeah, because then you're not troubleshooting something that could have a defective part in it that you can't even get anymore. I mean, I've got people that call us that get our number from other local electronics stores, and they want to know if we can find a HDMI board for like a 23-year-old receiver, not 23-year-old, but I'd say like a 15-year-old receiver, and it's not going to happen. So we like to start with all new, but if somebody we're not going to tell you we need to change out all the speakers in the house, but we would like to. And if the client's
So how do you rewire everything, or do you do it all remote?
Wireless.
Let's say we have all these outlets now with all the old, whatever they were.
A lot of cases we can still utilize a lot of the existing wiring, but in most cases we're running new wire. And we haven't ran into, I could think of one house that we know of that we cannot get wire into the first story. But other than that, I mean, there's really no place that we can't go with our wiring. We run wiring and floor trusses. My main guy, Jared, he's a magician when it comes to pulling wire in places where other companies might say it can't be done. And I think even back in 2010, before I had any employees, another local company told a friend of mine that he couldn't get a TV above his fireplace. And me, without having any help, I did it. I not only got the wiring into the fireplace, all up to code, but I also was able to put the TV on that fireplace. So we've just always had that mentality that we're not going to tell a client no. If a client wants something, we're going to do anything in our power to make it happen.
So this guy is like a lifesaver. I'm sure with the corona, a lot of people stayed home.
Yeah.
And you probably got busy because people are turning their homes into the paradise. Like it's their entertainment now. They're not going to go sit at a bar and watch TV. They're going to have a sport room or have their own man cave or, change all their TVs to bigger TVs, better sound system, speakers, right? You do that, right? Mm-hmm. You do outdoor speakers.
Yeah, we do pretty big outside systems.
What have you done stuff like that? Like,
all the time.
Because of the corona, did that
when COVID first hit in 2020, a lot of people realized that running on Wi-Fi was not the way to go. So the kids are home from school. They're doing their school remotely. The parents are working from home remotely. Everybody realized that, wow, I need to have hardwired Ethernet connections all over my house. So the networking side blew up, but the residential AV side just took off. I would say we were up anywhere from 25 to 35% just from the virus because of the people staying home.
Wow.
And when we did shut down for 6 weeks, and I left it up to my guys if they wanted to work, because we are considered essential because we do security and surveillance. But I have my reasons that I wanted to shut down, and I let the guys make the decision. Everybody said, let's just take a few weeks and we'll see what happens from this. So a client of mine that I had told a number to of what it would cost to do his house in 2019 said he would never do it. And it was a 18 to 20,000 square foot house.
Wow.
And built in 2017, already had a system in it, but it didn't work. And he was very upset about it. But when I told him how much it would cost, he wasn't going for it. But then COVID hit, and he called me in, I would say, April, May, and said, sign me up. When can you do it? So for the next 4 weeks while we were on that job, we still told the rest of the public that we were closed because we could not take on anything because of the size of this job.
Wow.
And then that led...
At that time, you probably had only 4 or 5 people, right? Or
at that time, I had 4 guys, and then my wife and I. But shortly after that, there was a technician from Geek Squad that got furloughed that I picked up, and he helped us, try to get caught back up. But when we went into COVID, we were 5 weeks out. So that's, 5 weeks of clients that we had to reschedule, not knowing if or when we were going to reopen because we didn't know what the virus was going to do to this country or the world.
Yeah.
So that was a challenge, trying to get all these people to just understand that, times are changing. And there were many sleepless nights that I just remember just being stressed, thinking, did I forget to call somebody? Did I let them know we're not going to be there? Did this client understand? Are they receptive of the fact that we're trying to be careful? We were checking our temperatures every day. We were sanitizing. We still sanitize the vans every single day at the end of the day. And often I do ask my clients if there's anyone sick in the home because In our line of work, the smaller jobs where the people are just trying to get something done, they're not always concerned about whether or not they could get us sick.
Mm-hmm.
So people will often bring us into their house to fix something and tell us once we get in there to not come near them because they have a cold or something like that. So we started having to ask, is everybody in the house healthy? Because we all have families that we don't want to go home and get sick. So it was a different world for a while there, and it continues to still be very busy from it because people are expanding and putting way more money into their home than I think they would have considered 2 or 3 years ago.
And you did a lot of outdoor.
The outdoor business grew.
Setup.
The outdoor business grew because people were outside. A lot of people were putting bigger systems around their pools, outside TVs.
They think like the outside TV, any TV can be outside, but I didn't know there's special companies that do just TVs for outdoors. They're very expensive, but they last.
Yeah.
Because
they're built to withstand the elements out there. So it's important that you consider that before you just put an inside TV out there.
Because you told me there was like temperature difference. Like if you take, let's say you're changing your family room TV, you're like, oh, I'll just put this outside. And you said, oh, that's going to fry up real quick.
Yeah, because the TVs get accustomed to their environment. So if you put an outdoor TV or if you put a TV outside and that's where it goes out of the box, you might get a few years out of it, and it gets accustomed to the humidity of being outside. But then once you bring that TV back inside, a lot of times it'll die very rapidly. And then the same thing with an indoor TV. If it's inside for 3 or 4 years and then you put it out in your lanai that's real humid, it's going to shock the board and it will die. I've even seen it happen within an hour of a good client of mine saying, no, it'll be fine out there. And we hung it, and at the end of the day, when we went to turn it on, it wouldn't even fire up. But it was working previously inside the home.
Oh, interesting.
So and some people don't believe that, but after they do it 2 or 3 times, then they start to realize, okay, because that's what happens. That's what we tell people. Like, we'll put whatever TV you want out there, but after you pay us 2 or 3 times to replace it, plus the cost of the TV, you should have just invested in an outdoor TV.
A friend just did that. I said, how old is the TV? He said 2 years, and the top was, blacked out. So he got another one, did the same thing, and I told him that's going to also last just maybe 1 to 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that was new out of the box he put up now. So
I wish that the outdoor TV companies would give you a longer warranty. Most of them are only 2 or 3 years, but typically we've seen outdoor TVs last 10 years outside with no problems.
No problems.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then as far as guys, like he can also come, you can put speakers outside by the pool.
Mm-hmm.
Are they like wired or are they remote?
Everything we do is wired. Yeah, we do have a few wireless options that are for portable use that you can carry around, but typically we wire everything from the inside of the home outside to a junction box, which then we switch into direct burial wiring, and we dig everything. We don't necessarily have to put it in pipe, so we do use direct burial quite a bit, but we do a lot of rock speakers, landscape speakers, the taller style speakers that are called bollards. We do in-ground subs. We do subwoofers that are called hardscape, that they just sit on the pavement or on the grass.
Wow.
And that's another thing that people get addicted on. There's a job that we just did not long ago where we did 6 8-inch rock speakers and 2 12-inch subwoofers that one of my guys was joking one day about a contractor walked by and asked him, what are you digging the hole for? And he looked back at my other technician and he said, him. Because the size of the hole was so big, because these subwoofers are massive and we got to sink them in the ground. And then all you see above the ground is a little mushroom top about this big.
Oh, really?
So people don't really know unless they see the subwoofer how big it is once it's underground. But we put 2 subs out there, 700 watts to just the subs.
Wow.
And the client wants to add 2 more.
And you do also security systems, right? You do or the cameras.
We do the surveillance portion. We have a friend of mine that I work with that does the security side, and we integrate his equipment in with our Control 4 automation.
So you have like as far as the cameras, of course you can get them by your phone. A lot of people go and order just the ones from Amazon. They're wireless through Google or whatever.
Right.
What is the system you use? How does that work? Because you have the big monitor. I know
Some
know you
systems
do
we
this
use, we
stuff.
put a monitor in, but some systems, the clients want to be able to view it on multiple TVs. So we have products that we use that'll just take up another input on a TV where they can just switch to their cameras in several rooms of the house.
Oh,
Some people don't have a monitor. They just use their phone or their tablet. Really not a fan of the wireless cameras. I bought my sister a set back in 2019 for Christmas because they didn't know if they were going to move from their house. So it didn't make sense for us to get up there and put a bunch of labor and money into the wiring of the home. So we did the Arlo cameras. And what she found out right away was that when she needed the cameras, the reliability wasn't there because you're depending on the motion sensor of a camera to tell the camera when to start recording. And you're also dependent on your Wi-Fi. So if your Wi-Fi goes out and the camera's not sensing the motion to start recording, then you have nothing. So the hardwired solutions are running all the time. A lot of times we put them on a battery backup. If the network goes down, it doesn't matter because they're still recording in the background. So
okay.
if the client was somebody that we knew and they wanted us to install like a Ring system, we'll do it. But we do we don't make them sign a disclaimer, but we do let them know that, you're not going to like this long term. And those are people that later on will come back and say, I should have listened to you. I felt good when we met and I liked you and, I should have listened to you because we hate these things,
Yes.
So you talking about Best Buy earlier, there's a totally different perspective when you consider a Best Buy versus what we do. Because anybody can go into a Best Buy and buy a TV and then they can come out and hang it. But we're providing the entire experience. We're not just hanging the TV. We're concealing the wiring in the wall. We're putting the place where we need to. We're putting the electrical outlets up behind the TVs where we need to. We're tying it in through their system. So a lot of houses you go in and there's a TV on the wall. Say in a bedroom, there's a TV on the wall and 2 speakers in the ceiling. But most of the time that TV doesn't come out through those 2 speakers. So what we do is where we put our rack, we actually send the audio from the TV back to the rack so that it can then be piped through the overhead speakers. And because we're always thinking, what would we do if it was our home? And that's how we provide our proposals to all of our clients. We think if it was me, what would I do? And then sometimes people are like, oh yeah, well, I don't want to do that. And then it's hard for me to work with them. But then after we go back and forth 3 or 4 times, then they'll finally feel good and say, you know what, just do it how you would do your own.
And they're easy to use, right? I mean,
it's very easy
you
to
have
use.
it all on their phone or different apps that control.
It's actually one centralized app. That's another beautiful thing about it. So
beautiful.
some people that are hesitant in the beginning, I just got off the phone with a client that was talking about Luzon Caseta lighting, which is a nice product. It's inexpensive. You can go and buy some of it at Home Depot, Lowe's, Best Buy. But it's another app. So if somebody has their garage door on MyQ and then they've got their Ring system, there's 2 apps. Now you've got your Lutron app. A lot of people end up with a folder in their iPhone or their Android that's automation. So they have all these apps in one folder so that they can easily find them. But we tie all that into one app. So even like Hayward and Pentair, we can tie in pool controls. With Raccio, we can tie in irrigation systems.
Wow, nice.
You're going to see at the new house, I'm going to have a full demo for you to be able to check it all out.
I'd love to see that. Yeah. So how do people reach you, Chris? And again, before we go through there, just name the stuff that you do, in regular language.
Okay.
As far as, the services you provide. Like, do you do central vacs? Probably not, right?
Mm-mm.
Secure system? No. But you have someone that does these things.
Right.
But go ahead and just, go ahead and review everything we talked about.
Okay. Well, we are a custom integration company. So we do home theater, distributed audio, networking, obviously the automation. We do a lot of TV installations, anything with low voltage wiring. We can come into a new home, existing home, wire it up to 2022 standards. We are a fully licensed electrical contractor, so we can do anything high voltage as well. We're pretty much your one-stop shop. I mean, if it's something in electronics that we don't do, like security, then we have people that we use that we have good relationships with that I would feel comfortable bringing into my own home. And that, again, is about relationships.
And he also told me with this new house of his that you can connect all the TVs. Like if someone wants to play music on all the TVs in the house, if you have a TV in every room, you could have it all talk to each other. Or
absolutely, it'll be set up like any modern sports bar, where if there's anything on any particular TV, we can send it to any TV in the house. That way, you're minimizing the sources that you have to have in the rack.
And then you can separate them too. You can just watch this,
you can separate them.
That. And as far as the computer monitors and stuff, you told me like you're gonna have like triple monitors.
I was gonna have 3, but now that might be 6.
Do you get into these things? Oh, it might be 6.
Yeah, now it might be 6.
Oh, I can't wait to see this video wall or whatever. So do you do that stuff too?
We do.
For people? Really?
We do, yeah.
So they don't have to like go to find a IT or whatever. You do all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Yeah, I mean, I thought you do a lot of it wirelessly, but you really don't. You actually do all wired items, which when I built my house, I did everything. I did the Ethernets through every room. Now, I don't know if you're using them or doing Wi-Fi, but...
Yeah, but they're there for the future.
They're there. There's all Ethernet for to every room.
Yeah.
I wired it directly. So I guess that's a good thing. But I'm not happy with my camera setup. I have that one little monitor. So I'll probably have him come and connect it to some TVs.
Yeah.
Like, let's say I'm in my family room and I don't want to, and the TV's not being used. You can have all your cameras show up on the main TV.
Absolutely.
Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's it, Chris. You see, this was easy. And thank you so much. I'm going to ask you to just say your name again, your name of your company again, how they can reach you.
Okay.
And I appreciate you for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
Sure.
Okay, my name is Chris Lozano. The company is Precise Audio. We're in Daytona Beach. Website is www.preciseaudiofl, as in Florida.com. Again, that's www.preciseaudiofl.com. And the phone number to reach us is 386-334-0731.
Thank you. And I'm Mr. T, your realtor, your go-to guy. If you have any questions about anything real estate related, if you need a contractor, if you want to pick my brain on whatever you're doing with real estate, any questions, feel free to call me at 386-299-8989. And there's never any kind of pressure from me. You can even ask me, hey, what do you think, Lee, my house is worth, or what I should do? We're thinking of selling. We're thinking of buying. I appreciate you watching my podcast, Wizard of House Podcast by Mr. T. And again, you can reach me at 386-299-8989. Don't forget to also visit my website, mrtsells.com, mrtsells.com. And also don't forget to subscribe to my podcast. Thank you so much.